In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Dear secondary stage students and those of Al-Azhar, welcome to a new edition of your program مدرسة على الهواء. أحبائي طلاب الثانوية العامة وكمان طلاب الأزهر، حلقة جديدة وبرنامجكم مدرسة على الهواء. And sure we have the pleasure to host our dear colleague Mr. Assam Mukhtar, Senior Master at the Ministry of Education. Hi, Mr. Assam.
Hi, Mr. Muhammad. Of course, the pleasure is mine, of course.
Thanks a lot.
Alhamdulillah.
Dear students, as we promised last session, that today, inshallah, we are going to study chapter 2 of your novel, The Prisoner of Zenda. اتفقنا ان احنا النهارده ان شاء الله هنناقش مع بعض chapter 2، لكن خلونا الاول كده مستر عصام يربط لنا بقى ايه اللي حصل في نهايه الفصل الاول، او يقول لنا على الاقل المين بوينتس of the chapter or the first chapter، عشان نقدر نفكر مع بعض ونشوف الاحداث ماشيه ازاي. لكن اكيد كلنا منتظرين مكالماتكم ومستنيين برضو تكتبوا النقاط المهمه اللي بيتكلم فيها مستر عصام. شوف مستر عصام يبدا يقول لنا ايه دلوقتي. اتفضل مستر عصام.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Muhammad. Today, our dear students, we are going to continue what we have already started before. هنكمل مع بعض الجزء اللي وقفنا عنده، the lie or the big lie. Why did Razandal lie to his family? هو كذب على أسرته في إيه؟ طبعا مش هنتكلم بقى في النقاش بتاع الشجار وكده مع روز لأن كله حفظناه. He couldn't tell them that he is going to Ruritania to find or to attend the coronation, so he told them that he is going to the Alps. اللي عارفين الأسرة. He is traveling to the Alps trying to write a book about social problems over there. طيب لغاية هنا تمام. When he spent the night in Paris and he met one of two of his old friends, George Featherly and Bertrand, they told him about something he really knew about but they didn't know what he knows about. لما حكوا له أصحابه على الكورونيشن هو طبعا مديهم انطباع he doesn't know anything about the coronation. نيجي بقى الحتة المهمة جدا بتاعت الكورونيشن هنا. When he realized that an important woman called Madame Antoinette or Antoinette de Maupin, a close friend to Duke Michael, is traveling on the same train he is taking to Dresden. هنا بيرجعنا للحتة بتاعت مستر محمد اللي دايما بيفضل يقولها Razandal was a master of opportunities. كان أستاذ في انتهاز الفرص. إيه الفرص اللي موجودة هنا؟ He is going to see the coronation or attending the coronation of his close or remote cousin, King Elfberg. So when he realizes that there is someone that might facilitate لما يعرف إن في حد ممكن يسهل له how to know the king or how to meet the king. يعني this is a bridge زي ما بيقول كده هيستعملها ككوبري توصله للملك. So this is an opportunity to meet the future king. دي هتأثر كتير عليه الطريق. But unfortunately he was not that lucky. لم يكن بهذا الحظ ليه؟ Although we know كلنا قرينا في التكست بتاع القصة بيقول لنا هنا the trip on the train took about 24 hours. الرحلة خدت 24 ساعة. أعتقد this is a good time for him. It's a long time for him to meet her. But unfortunately he couldn't meet Antoinette de Maupin, so his opportunity went to the feather of the air. تقريبا حلمه وذهب أدراج الرياح زي ما بيقولوا. في الحتة دي ممكن نقول هنا the trip on the train was a disappointing one. كانت رحلة مخيبة للآمال because what he really anticipated or what he expected to see or to meet here. Why did he want to meet her? خلاص عرفنا هو كان عايز يقابلها عشان كذا. He didn't meet her. So he slipped one step. فالرحلة ديت كانت إلى حد ما مخيبة للآمال. ده لسه كمان في another disappointment. When the train arrived at Dresden station أول ما وصل all the passengers will have to get inside the passport checking.
طيب انا عارف مستر عصام انت هتتكلم على ايه النقطه دي، ولكن خلينا نشوف الكلام ده يا احبائي. As Mr. Assam just said that as Razandal said before that a man like me or the responsibilities are or opportunities are responsibilities. يعني كان بيتكلم على ان الفرص دايما هي بالنسبه له بتمثل مسؤوليات. الكلام ده زي ما شفتكم مستر عصام بيقول لنا ان he was taken Antoinette de Maupin as a bridge to be close to عشان يقترب من مين بقى؟ من ديوك مايكل. وديوك مايكل اكيد the half brother of the king، هو اخ للملك، طبعا اخ غير شقيق. كان طبعا ديك عايز ينتهزها كفرصه. لكن دلوقتي احنا we are taking the train from Dresden to the borders of Ruritania. وصلنا الحدود بتاعت ايه بقى؟ روتينيا. تعالوا نشوف ايه اللي ممكن يحصل ودلاله ده ايه في a piece of a clip. هنشوف دلوقتي شورت فيديو كده ونرجع تاني نعلق على الكلام ده. نشوف مع بعض.
As Passengers will please to descend.
Papers?
Passengers will please to descend.
This way for passport examination, please. This way for passport
Special
examination.
rates for the coronation.
Special high rates.
Rudolph Rassendahl, British subject. Purpose of visit, pleasure. What hotel in Strelsau, Mr. Rassendahl?
I hadn't thought about it.
You better think about it. If you don't want to sleep in the park.
Well, in that case, I won't go to Strelsau until after the coronation. I've come to your country for a well-earned rest with the intention of going fishing for trout. I beg your pardon. Have I said anything I shouldn't? I know my clothes are a little conservative, but we English always dress as if we're going to a funeral when we're on a holiday.
Everything is quite in order.
Thank you for making me feel so much at home. All right, I'll take these, thanks.
But your train's going.
I'm going to Strelsau on foot in my own good time.
But you'll...
As you saw, dear students, when Rassendahl arrived at the Ruthenian border, شفنا كده ان the guards were staring at him and his passport. كانوا بيبحلقوا او يحملقوا او يركزوا النظر في الباسبور بتاعه وفي كمان وجهه. Why؟ تفتكروا ليه اصلا ده حصل؟ طبعا ده يمكن يكون هو one of the themes of our novel. هنخلي طبعا دلوقتي مستر عصام يعلق لنا. Why did the guards stare at or gaze at Rassendahl and his passport? فضل.
Yes. First of all, let me highlight something very important. لازم ناخد بالنا ان الفيلم طبعا هيختلف السياق بتاعه شويه عن القصه، لكن it's a way to make things easier. احنا بنستعمل فيديو عشان نسهل الامور اكتر. First, we have known that the king or the future king is not quite famous or the people are not familiar with him. يعني تقريبا الناس ما تعرفش شكله. الفيلم طبعا مبين البوردرز هي الحرس المفروض they are entitled to know even the face of their king. أول ما شافوه زي ما شفتوا فعلا في الفيديو كده all the guards were stare هنا بمعنى يحملق بدهشة. Why? He looked exactly like the king. طبعا هي دي هتبان بعد كده، يعني هو المؤلف بتاع القصة مش أنتوني هوب، لا المؤلف بتاع الكتاب اللي عندنا اللي هو رازندل نفسه، لأن هو اللي كاتب الذكريات دي. He himself said they were staring at me I don't know why. أنا مش عارف هي الحرس أنا عملت حاجة غلط ولا they were staring for me for something. فمش عارف، هو later on هيعرف بعدين. احنا بقى ممكن نقول من دلوقتي he exactly looked like the king because he had the same red hair and the same straight nose that the same king has. Rudolf Elfberg بالظبط looks like an identical twin to Rudolf Rassendahl. يعني هي دي يمكن المفارقة اللي بنى عليها أنتوني هوب القصة بالمغامرة بتاعتنا هنا. So it was easy for us to know why the guards were staring at him, but it was not easy at that time for Rassendahl to realize it.
Yeah. You told us, Mr. Assam, before the video that Rassendahl was disappointed for the second time.
Yes.
It was the first time that he didn't meet Anton Dumba on the train. Next time, what happened? What made him disappointed?
المرة دي بقى هنجيبها لهم مكتوبة عشان يتابعوا معانا ويشوفوا حالا هتطلع لكم على الشاشة الديسابوينتمنت التاني ده عبارة عن ايه. Rassendahl got surprised هتطلع حالا على الشاشة قدامنا. شكرا جزيلا. Rassendahl got surprised تفاجأ. امتى؟ when he knew about the rearrangement يعني إعادة ترتيبات. المفروض إن في حدث event معين ما بيتغيرش فيه ولا هو إيه. لكن لما يلاقي لي هنا rearrangement وصلت لمرحلة ما ينفعش يتداركها. تعالوا نبص مع بعض of the coronation. It was decided to be in 3 weeks time. كان متعارف عليه إن فعلا الcoronation في خلال 3 أسابيع. إيه بقى disappointment أو إيه السربرايز اللي شافه هنا؟ Now he is in Ruritania. هو بالفعل موجود على أرض الواقع. And the event in due to days course. ويتضح لما يقرأ الجريدة يتفاجئ طبعا احنا كنا عارفين هو his German is perfect. ويتفاجئ إيه بقى؟ The coronation in 2 days. في خلال يومين اتنين. This is a problem. ببساطة جدا. إيه الإجابة هنا؟ So it would be difficult to find a room in any hotel in the capital. احنا عارفين طبعا الكورونيشن في الكابيتال. طب هيروح يبات مش معقول زي ما قال لنا كده في الفيلم كده لو خدتوا بالكم الجارد بيقولوا ايه you should be aware or you'd like to sleep in a park. انت مش هتلاقي اوضه يبقى انت هتنام في الجنينه او هتنام في الشارع زي ما بيقولوا يعني. ده الجزء اللي بنتكلم عليه بتاع الريارينجمنت اللي هيعمل مشكله عند رازندل. رازندل decides to stay in an inn. INN بمعنى فندق صغير في المناطق الريفيه. in زندا. يبقى اذا he reroute his trip. في الحاله دي غير خط السير التريب بتاعه. He is not going to Strelso, he is going to Zenda. Strelso, this is the capital. Till the day of the coronation. برضه هو ناصح شوية. يوم التتويج هيركب القطر يروح Strelso وبعد كده ربنا يسهل بقى. Then he could take a train to Strelso to attend the king's coronation, then get back to his inn. In the inn. خلاص وصل للإن والإن ده برضه هيبان فيه مفارقة ظريفة دلوقتي. In the inn he meets جوهان.
طيب.
بس قبل يوهان هنقول بقى التفاصيل الصغيرة دي.
بالظبط. طيب قبل ما نشوف مثلا حوار برضه في داخل الفندق الصغير، احنا زي ما شفنا كده مستر عصام حباي وضح لنا that Rasandel was an opportunist، يعني راجل انتهازي. قلنا all the time he thinks himself as a man of opportunities، راجل فرص بينتهز الفرص. وشفنا when he read in one of the Ruritania's newspapers، لما قرأ بقى في احدى الصحف بتاعت روريتانيا that the coronation is in just 2 days he changed mind. غير عقله بقى ليه او غير تفكيره ليه؟ He was supposed to go to the capital city Strelso to attend the coronation. كان المفروض يروح طبعا روريتانيا يحضر العاصمه نفسها ستريلسو عشان يحضر حفله التتويج. But when he read that the coronation is just in 2 days he changed mind and decided to get off the train into the nearest or the first stop. أول محطة قابلنا كانت the small town of Zenda which was just 10 kilometers from the borders، على بعد 10 كيلو فقط من الحدود. راسندل طبعا زي ما المستر عصام was quite smart because if he went to the capital city and he knew that there was no place at a hotel to spend the night, so he decided to stay in Zenda because as we will know later that all the people in Zenda and the other small towns were not interested. ما كانوش مهتمين، يعني مش مهتمين قوي of the joyous event or joyous occasion of the coronation. ما يهمهمش قوي حفل التتويج هيتم ايه او يحصل ايه. لكن هنشوف هنا مفارقة كبيرة جدا ان the people of Zenda are at the Duke side. الناس دي supporting Duke Michael. يا ترى ديوك مايكل عمل ايه عشان الناس تأيده؟ Why didn't they want رودولف ألفبرغ رودولف the fifth to be the king؟ ليه مش عايزين الملك؟ طبعا في حوار مطول جدا بين راسندل as a visitor to the country and the innkeeper صاحبة الفندق اللي هي the old woman سيدة عجوز. وكمان هنشوف في كمان تدخل of her one of her daughters البنت الكبرى برضك هنشوف تعليقها. وكمان will meet a new character here the man who called Johan the old daughter's friend. اوكي شوف الحوار ده كله مستر عصام عايز كده يعني ايه يكون شكل كده يعني ايه يعني شكل a conversation or dialogue between two. اتفضل.
تمام. لما نخش كده على بداية الدخلة هنا في Rasandel enters the inn, he finds an old woman. She runs the hotel itself. يعني لا أنا دي ريف والفندق بتدير واحدة ست. She is elderly enough. أول ما دخل he told her that he is a guest from England and he would like to attend the coronation. جاي يتفرج على التتويج تحديدا وزي ما يكون فعلا أخطأ خطأ عمره. الامرأة هنا انطلقت في the coronation. You are coming to see the coronation.
تمام.
Yes. So, how about the king? She told him herself that she herself never saw the king because this is the opinion, not the old woman, this is the opinion of the public, of the people. عامة الشعب بيقولوا أو هي ممكن نقول إنها بتتكلم بلسان حالهم يعني. Most of the people don't know even how he looks like. Why? The king is lazy. The king spends all his time outside Britannia. He doesn't care about the people. So most of the people do not favor him as a king. قال ده خلفية ما تشجعش. طبعا في وسط الحوار هنا they were talking about why the king is here. طبعا هو عارف طبعا الking he is spending some time hunting in the forest. She told him that he is a guest of his brother Duke Michael who is in the other side of the people. واقف على الجانب الآخر مع ناس. All the people favor Duke Michael. ليه؟ طبعا من حقهم بقى يقولوا الكلام ده because he is quite near. He takes care of everything. He tries to solve all the problems of the people. ده بقى الملك. هو ده المفروض الشخص اللي الشخص اللي يحكم. فهي بتتكلم من منطلق she doesn't like the king and this is not her own opinion. ده رأي عامة الشعب في الدولة. في لحظة راح مقاطع الحوار هنا. Here elder sister daughter I'm sorry بنتها الكبيرة راحت داخلة. أول ما بصت she looks to his hair. His red hair made her look quite interesting and surprised. أول سؤال سألته له Are you a relative to the king? هو أنت تقرب للملك؟ Of course بعد اللي سمعه من her mother ما يقدرش يتكلم ولا يصرح. So the daughter said the king has red hair like you. تخيلوا بقى the woman the old woman الأم نفسها was surprised. فراحت تسأل البنت How do you know that the king has red hair? عرفتي منين إن الملك عنده شعر أحمر؟ No one knows that. محدش يعرف الكلام ده. هي البنت نفسها ما تعرفش. فراحت مدخلانا بقى الجزء اللي اتكلمنا عليه مستر محمد. يوهان one of the duke's servants or the men who work at the service of Duke Michael. I know my friend Johan told me he saw him and he told me that the king has red hair. أنا ما شفتش الملك فعلا بس يوهان قال لي إنه شاف الملك في الفورست he was hunting and he really intensified that he has red hair. red hair دي هتعمل لنا قصة لوحدها لأن هتلاقوا بعد كده أحد الشخصيات بيقول على مايكل بلاك مايكل. طبعا مش بلاك مايكل معناه ان هو لونه اسمر ولا حاجه، لا هو بيرمز لحاجه معينه. طبعا مش عايزين نحرق الاحداث، هنمشي واحنا بالتفاصيل. So here realizes Razendal there is something missing about the whole problem. The king that he was about to brag or about to be proud of كان لسه هيبتدي يتفخر ويقول وكده. He realized that the king is not quite preferred by his people. I think such person will have a lot of problems and difficulties in ruling such kind of people. لما يلاقي ناس بالشكل ده مش مرحبة بالملك بتاعها هيبقى في مشاكل كتيرة في حكمها. فطبعا الحوار ده ماشي كويس جدا وفجأة يحصل موقف كوميدي عابر. ايه اللي حصل بقى؟ يوهان comes inside and he heard outside كان واقف بره he heard that someone was talking about Duke Michael. وراح داخل بقى في حته كده بتفكرنا بالافلام القديمه كده ستيفان روستي اللي داخل Who is talking about Duke Michael؟ مين اللي بيجيب في سيره دوك مايكل؟ طبعا بيبين ان هو quite loyal to the man، هو مخلص جدا فمش طايق كلمه قال. فتخيلوا بقى لما يبقى داخل كده فجاه and suddenly he pauses stops and takes 2 steps back وراح راجع لورا زي ما بيقول ايه يا نهار مش فايت مين ده؟ وانا جايب سيره كمان دوك مايكل. So he thought that that person might be the king. ده تفسيره الشخصي كده اول ما شافه. هما بيطلعوا الساعه كام؟ مين دوت؟ فبطبيعه الحال the woman بتحاول تنقذ الموقف. قلت له why are you so worried Johan? This is a gentleman from England and he is coming to attend the coronation. تعالى مالك اتخضيت كده؟ انت مالك اتكهربت؟ This is a guest. ده ضيف جاي يتفرج على الكورونيشن. فعايز يقول لي جيست؟ مش ممكن. جيست مين؟ في جيست بالشكل ده.
طيب كويس مجد مستر عصام. حلو قوي التحليل ده. احنا شفنا كده ان رازندل went to stay or to spend the night in a hotel or a small motel or inn في فندق صغير كده او مكان صغير طبعا في موجود في مدينه زندا يقضي فيه الليله بتاعته. شفنا the conversation between him and the innkeeper وشفنا الحوار طبعا ان شفنا the difference viewpoints of 2 generations. شفنا اختلاف الافكار بين جيلين. The old woman represents the old or the old generation. الست العجوز طبعا بتمثل الجيل القديم and her daughter represents the young one بتمثل الجيل الاصغر. يعني واضح كده ان كبار السن بيشوفوا العمليه من خلال المصلحه والصغيرين بيشوفوها من خلال appearance. هنشوف ازاي. يعني شفنا the innkeeper was looking for her interest. يعني when she was asked لما سئلت why did she support the duke? Why did she want Duke Michael to be the king? ليه عايزة Duke Michael يبقى الملك؟ She simply said that he cares about them. هو بيعتني بيهم. He spends most of his time inside the country. بيقضي معظم وقته among people بداخل البلد بوسط الشعب نفسه. طبعا this is really a good explanation or a good excuse for her intention. لكن شفنا على الجانب الثاني ان her daughter was interested in the king to be crowned because he just having or because he just has red hair عشان فقط ان هو اللون الشعر لونه شعره ايه
because of his good looks.
Yeah. And again شفنا في نقطه كمان مهمه جدا مستر عصام When Razandal knew that the king is at Zenda, he thought that he and his younger brother, Duke Michael, who was preparing for the coronation, thought that they might be good friends. قد يكونوا أصدقاء. لكن طبعا شفنا السيدة عجوز بتقول له you can be a friend if you want the same thing. مش ممكن تكون صديق طبعا لو انت عايز نفس الشيء. اكيد النقطه دي عايز تحل اكتر more explanation اكيد من مستر عصام، ولكن خلونا نشوف الاول the arrival of Duke Michael in Zenda place or Zenda town، ونشوف طبعا بعد الفيديو هنحاول نحلل الجزء ده. اتفضل.
It's a trick of the devil. Shave him and he'd be the king. May I ask your name, sir?
Well, since you've taken the first step in the acquaintance, gentlemen, perhaps you'd be good enough to give me a lead in the matter of names.
Oh, certainly. This is Colonel Zapt, and I'm called Fritz von Tarlenheim. We are both in the service of His Majesty the King.
I'm Rudolph Rassendyll. I'm here on holiday from England, and I was recently in the service of Her Majesty the Queen.
Rassendyll.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Rassendyll?
How do you do?
Rassendyll. Of course, by heaven, your face betrays you, sir. You know his history, I believe.
Well, I had heard a rumor or two.
I was hoping that our skeleton was safe at home in our family cupboard.
Some skeletons are prodigious travelers, sir.
Friends, where are you?
Here, Your Majesty.
Confound it, I thought you'd lost yourselves again. Who's this gentleman?
A distant relative of yours, Your Majesty.
Distant. He seems too close for comfort. That is something for which you cannot entirely blame me, Your Majesty. Oh, then who shall I blame? But with Your Majesty's permission, I would suggest that the blame lies equally between your great-great-great-grandfather Rudolph and my great-great-great-grandmother Amelia. I beg your pardon?
He's right, Your Majesty. The man is a Rassendyll from England.
Rassendyll? England? Yes, Your Majesty. Ever since Amelia's time, the Elfberg face has cropped out on one of us every now and then. Well met, cousin. You must forgive me if I seemed a little slow, but it's a bit early in the day to see double, even for me. Is that? But what are you doing here, cousin? I must admit to being guilty of the same offense as our mutual ancestor, Your Majesty. And what was that? Fishing in forbidden waters. Oh. Ah! That's very funny. That's funny. The man has wit. You must come to my coronation tomorrow. I'd give 1,000 crowns for the sight of Brother Michael's face when he sees the pair of us side by side. You shall stay at my hunting lodge, and tonight we shall dine you right royally. Our ancestors laid down some good wine here in the lodge, cousin. Fritz, they little thought that a bottle or two was laid down for you. All in the family.
شفنا احبائي الجزء طبعا ده اللي هو المقابله بتاعت رازندل مع two of the king's bodyguards اللي هم كارنل سابت او كارنل سابت، وكمان معانا كابتن فريتز فان تيرلنهايم و the arrival of the king. وشفنا طبعا ان زابت as an old soldier كراجل بقى قديم يعني اشتغل او served with the late king، بيقدر طبعا يقدم رازندل وبيعرفه برودولف ذا فيفث. كنا وقفنا قبل الفيديو عند سؤال مهم جدا that I'm asking Mr. عصام. The woman or the innkeeper said that you can be a friend if you want to have the same thing. يا ترى مستر عصام what is the explanation, what's the interpretation of this؟ يعني الست بتقول لو انت هتبقى صديق مش ممكن تكون صديق وانت عايز نفس الشيء.
تمام.
What does she mean by this؟
النقطة دي very important فعلا. We know that the king is hunting in the forest which belongs to his brother, and Duke Michael at the same time preparing for his coronation. لما تتخيلوا كده the king بيلعب في حتة and of course he's going to be king, and the other one who thinks that he is entitled to be king rather than him because he is quite near to the people. Both the real king and his brother, his half brother, naturally both need the same thing. Why? Duke Michael, واعتقد انا برضو يعني الى حد ما ببص لدوك مايكل الله يكون في عونه يعني. He takes care of everything. زي ما بيقول لنا في الفيلم كده he is the second fiddle player of the play. يعني تقريبا هو اللي بيبقى ماسك في ايده كل حاجه، ده المايسترو بتاع العاصمه. He is Duke of the Strauss or he is Duke of the capital. So this man knows everything about the country. He runs the country well. Runs R-U-N-S هنا بمعنى يدير مش يجري. At the same time his future king, his brother, is playing around. بيلعب براحته بيصطاد وكده. So at this time أكيد في نفسه. This is human nature. بقى أنا اللي شغال ده كله شغال فعلا في البلد. And I'm preparing the coronation for him simply to make him king. No, of course I have the right to be king like him. أكيد أنا من جوايا لازم أبقى عارف إن أنا ممكن أبقى ملك، وفي الحالة دي the people will be pleased with it. في the other side نتكلم على الملك. He knows that sooner or later he is going to be king. So he is dutiful or he is destined to be. هو مصيره كده. فبالتالي he doesn't work much to prove himself as a future king. فتخيلوا هنا الأم اللي هي صاحبة الفندق هنا she was right. She was quite sensible about this. كانت فعلا مدركة الأمور دوت. الملك هيبقى ملك and at the same time the other brother or his half brother is working and doing everything. So he has the right to be the king. فأكيد at the same time both طبعا مش هنقول إن الملك يعني he is quite lazy or he doesn't know what is going around, but أكيد he realizes deep inside himself that his brother dreams to be king too. ففي الحالة ديت ما أعتقدش they will be good friends to each other. Of course they are brothers by blood. هم إخوة بالدماء. لكن that doesn't mean that they are going to be friends.
Sure. لكن شوف يا أستاذ عصام إن ممكن يعني أنا شايف من خلال your explanation that you are giving us or giving our students a right or a clear image about Duke Michael's inner thoughts. Why don't you say that he invited his brother to spend some time in the Hampton Lodge because he wanted him to be away from the people of Strelso?
Yes, this is another side of his plot.
Yeah,
yes.
And again he said that the king himself said once to Rosendal that this place, my brother, it was talking about the hunting lodge, built for hunting. احنا عارفين اصلا ان كلمه hunt it's not just to hunt animal. You can hunt people too. فهنا طبعا يبعدوا عن العاصمه. يعني احنا عارفين the capital was about 80 kilometers from Zenda, على بعد 80 كيلو من زندا. يبقى اكيد برضو ان كان في bad intentions موجوده بالفعل لدى ديوك مايكل، ويمكن كده عشان قلنا سميناه بلاك مايكل، مش بس يمكن يكون شعره اسود اوكي، لكن في نفس الوقت برضو الباد انتنشنز هي اصلا نواياه الشريره او السيئه، and he wanted to get rid of his brother and again to marry his fiancée. Yes, اللي هي Princess Flavia. طيب the innkeeper Mr. Assam mentioned things that Rosendal could understand. Sorry, that the king himself, yes, because he is the older or the elder, طبعا in the family, he had the right to be a king.
Yes.
But even if he didn't want to be a king, was it right for Black Michael to be the king or not?
Well, the woman in this topic or in this respect thinks that even Duke Michael doesn't have the right to be king because he is second in place. His mother was not royal family, his mother was not princess. So the other boy or the elder brother rightful to be king, but she thinks that he doesn't deserve to be king. هي شايفة ان الملك لا يستحق هذا الوضع. ليه؟ He doesn't care about his people and he doesn't look responsible enough for this post. انت دلوقتي هتبقى ملك، ورينا كرامات كده، يعني انت فين؟ Simply we don't know your face. احنا مش شايفين وشك، ما نعرفوش. You are not around. At the same time, Duke Michael works a lot and he is trying his best to make the people that if I came king, there might be hope for a change. So the people, she was talking about the whole people. هو طبعا ما حدش يقدر يقول ايه ما تيجي يا مايكل، بس هو شايف he was trying, he was working hard and he was using the people. فعلا هنا كان بيستغل الناس. He was using this card powerfully. He was trying to make clear that if something happens to the king and he is not fit enough for the post, لو حصل حاجة للملك and I am right here for you, I think no one will oppose. ما اعتقدش في حد هيعترض.
Yeah.
فهو لعب على اللعبة دي.
So you want to say that Duke Michael had a clear plan,
Yes.
at least in his mind. He was playing at the people's side. He knew that all the people were at least the poor people were supporting him. He invited his brother to spend some time in the hunting lodge. He wanted him to be away from the people and away from the coronation. And the king himself was not interested in even preparing for his own coronation. يبقى كل الأحداث ماشية في اتجاه واحد. لكن they didn't, or Black Michael didn't put in mind or was not expecting that someone looked identical like the king may arrive at any time and destroy or despoil his plans. ما كانش مخطط ان في حد ممكن يجي يبوظ له كل التفكير بتاعه او الخطه بتاعته. يعني كانت لغايه كده كانت ماشيه it works well، ماشيه كويس. لكن by the arrival of Rosendal to Zenda everything changed. كل شيء تغير. احنا شفنا في الفيديو شفنا ان كان في meeting between the king and the newcomer or the visitor اللي هو Rosendal. The king invited Rosendal to have dinner, Mr. Assam.
Yes.
As you don't meet a cousin every day. انت ما تقابلش ابن عمك بقى. Again he was identical like or looked like identical twins. فما بتقابلش شخص بقى زي كده كل يوم. يعني he was generous enough to invite him to have dinner with him. لكن شفنا ان his man Zapt and von Tellenheim or Fritz von Tellenheim objected to this. يا ترى what or why did they object, Mr. Assam?
النقطة دي very very well planned. النقطة دي بتبين لنا ان الملك فعلا he doesn't have the mastermind of things or he doesn't have the ability to run things by own or by himself. How? When he saw Rosendal and met him, طبعا كان راجل hospitable جدا، ازيك عامل ايه والكلام ده كله. But when they realized, they معناها هنا the king and his two men, when they realized that he is coming to attend the coronation, راح طالع على طول Fritz, one of his close guards، طبعا Colonel Fritz بيقول له I don't think بمنتهى الأدب I don't think that it's a good idea for Mr. Rosendal to visit Strelso. يعني هو جاي عشان يتفرج على التتويج. ما أعتقدش إن دي هتبقى فكرة كويسة قوي. طبعا واضح إنه بينبه this will cause a lot of confusion.
اللي اعترض هنا فريتز فون تالنهايم.
طبعا.
Yes. تمام.
يوضح النقطة دي. ونتخيل الملك خد برأيه. The king was not quite aware of the background or the repercussion. ده في عواقب الأمور أو توابع ليها. فقالوا well فرفع عنه الحرج Rosendal. Rosendal بيقول I realized the whole situation or the density of the situation. أنا عرفت أنت تقصد إيه. طبعا بالخلفية اللي سمعها من ال old woman في الإن طبعا عرف إن هو he is going to make some kind of confusion and the coronation. فالملك برضو يبين نقطة جميلة جدا. This king is quite hospitable. He doesn't know what is plotting for him. هو مش عارف ايه المؤامرة اللي هي بتحاك له او ايه الحاجة اللي مستنياه في الطريق. Although all that he put it aside, but he must present him as a good guest. He is زي ما قال مستر محمد he doesn't meet a cousin every day. مش معقول هيقابل ابن عم ولو حتى a close or a distant relative. يغير الوشوش شوية. So he insisted on having him as a guest to dinner. وطبعا هيروح يعزمه. هي دي بقى التيرنينج بوينت بتاعتنا. بالظبط زي ما مستر محمد قال لنا دوك مايكل كان ماشي تمام. الخطة بتاعته round according to track. He doesn't know that by the arrival or the sudden arrival or Rosendal the table will be turned. الدنيا هتتقلب عليه. يعني هو مش عارف ايه اللي هيجرى بالظبط. لكن لما نشوف بقى ازاي هيروح في الهانتنج لودج and Rosendal himself will realize how the king is quite keen on food. يعني الملك ده انت عندك رحلة بكرة وبتاع and he was eating so much. وده هنشوفه فيما بعد.
تمام. يبقى شفنا كده ان the man of the king or his men, I mean Zapt and Fritz von Tellenheim, objected to the idea of Razendel's going to the capital Streltsy to attend the coronation. Why؟ احنا الناس ممكن تشوف شخصين يا جماعة بنفس الشكل بالظبط، وعلى الأقل الناس ما بيعرفوش شكل الملك بشكل كويس. يعني most of the people in the country Ruritania don't know how the king looks like, and seeing two of the same person, this might put the people in confusion. People might mistake Razendel for the king. الناس قد تخطئ تحط راسندل تفتكر هو نفسه ايه الملك. عشان كده شفنا فريدز في البدايه فعلا كان يعني quite aware of this وقال الفكره الملك، والملك طبعا اخذ براي كمان زابت and he found the same opinion نفس الراي. Razendel again was quite intelligent. He said that he could understand what's going on, and he told them that he would leave the country at once. هيسيب البلد طبعا حالا. لكن زي ما قال مستر عصام ان the king was quite generous. He asked Razendel to have dinner with them. عايزين نروح دلوقتي نشوف حفل العشاء ده يا ترى اللي هيتم طبعا في الهانتنج لوج ايه اللي ممكن يتم، وايه بقى يعني يا ترى هيتم على خير بقى ولا يحصل فيه مشكله كمان هتساعد في ديوك مايكل achieving his own plans. يلا نشوف الفيديو مع بعض ونرجع نستكمل.
How? Why? Who?
Who else but Michael?
Michael? His own brother?
His half-brother. Michael's mother wasn't exactly acceptable in court circles. He wants the crown to be offered to him by the people. He wants to pose as their savior from the excesses of an incompetent king.
If he is not crowned today, he'll never be crowned. Englishman, I am much older than you. As a man grows old, he comes to believe in fate. Fate sent you here. Fate sends you now to Strelsau.
What?
I'd wager without your mustache you could deceive your own brother.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
It's a risk, yes. Against a certainty.
My dear Colonel, I came here on a fishing trip. I like to fish. I'm an ordinary Englishman. I couldn't begin to act like a king even if I tried. I wouldn't deceive anybody.
What are you smiling at?
Conjures up quite a picture, doesn't it? The cathedral crowded to the doors, the organ booming. I kneel to be crowned. Yeah. And then your friend Michael steps forward and shouts, "That isn't the king. That's an Englishman named Rudolph Rassendyll." Oh, no, I'm sorry, gentlemen.
Then Michael sits on the throne tonight and the king lies in prison or his grave.
After all, it would only be for today, wouldn't it?
By tonight, you'll be safely across the border.
If I fail, what then?
Your life, and mine, and Fritz's here.
Confounded. I'd become awfully fond of this mustache. Hope the crown's a better fit.
Well, what are we going to do?
We've got to hide him. We can't chance Michael's men finding him here. The cellar would be best. Pick him up.
But if they search...
Joseph will put them off.
But...
We're not playing. I know the risk. If they do find him, he'll be no worse off than if he's not crowned in Strelsau today. Pick him up.
شفنا كده ان احنا عملنا يعني الجامب مستر عصام يعني we didn't see the dinner. شفناش العشاء بقى لكن اكيد طبعا you tell us more مستر عصام of this, right?
Yes.
لان في a very important thing. تقول لنا بقى يا ترى احنا قلنا the king was fond of eating. مهتم جدا بالاكل and living a sort of easy life. يا ترى ايه تم during the dinner مستر عصام؟
Yes. برضو كويس ان احنا لقطنا النقطة دي. This is a very important point because Rosendal sees that the king is quite keen on food and eating, and he eats everything, and he realizes that his mouth is a little bit wider. يعني الملك شغال كويس قوي في الاكل، فده يبين ان هو يعني بيعلل ليه انه عريض شوية في حجم البق. Suddenly Joseph, the king's servant, comes at the end of the meal and tells him, "What's this?" The king بيسأل طبعا. Joseph tells him, "Duke Michael told me to give you this at the end of your meal." To give you this، ويا ريت نحط كده this كده عليها 3 4 5 خطوط. This هنا معناه ايه؟ أو بترمز ليه؟ This was a big plate of cakes. These cakes will play its role. يعني الكيكس اللي هيجي هنا طبعا احنا هنقوله دلوقتي بس هيبان دلوقتي على اللوحة بعدين. What did Duke Michael send؟ طبعا بعد ما كلوا الكيكس تعالوا نتفرج بقى ايه اللي جرى. بيقول لي هنا الكاتب بتاعنا The next thing I remember I woke up suddenly covered in water. يعني هو ما لحقش ياخد حته كيكه واحده. اخر حاجه فاكرها بقى بيقول انا افتكرت ان انا صحيت covered in water مغطى بالمياه. دي كانت This is the only way to wake Rosendal up. I looked up and saw Colonel Zapt standing in front of me. اول ما شاف الميه وطلع من وشه طبعا زي ما احنا شفنا كده في الكليب it was not a joke. This is not funny. طبعا ما فيش حد يصحي حد بالطريقه دي. ده لو كان الحد ده مين اي حد فما بالكم ده ان ده يبقى ابن عم او ابن عمه الملك
يعني ضيف بالنسبه له
يهدي لهم الهانتنج لودج على طول. In front of me with Fritz von Tardenheim next to him. That wasn't funny, I said. واضح ان هي بلهجه فيها نوع من الشده مع حق طبعا ما فيش حد يصحى بالطريقه دي خالص زي ما نسمعها حتى لو كان يعني عبر سبيل يعني. We must tell everyone what's happened. هو ايه اللي happened؟ يا ترى الكيكس خدتوا بالكم الكيكس دي were poisoned and the king now is poisoned. الملك دلوقتي متسمم. وبعدين بقى this is the plan. كده عرفوا الخطة بتاع جوك مايكل. مايكل was planning to make him away from the coronation. This was a way for him. دي كانت طريقة لإبعاد الملك عن ظهوره.
تمام. قبل ما نكمل عشان بس يبقى واضح جدا لأحبائنا الطلبة زي ما شفتوا كده إن after the invitation بعد الدعوة to have dinner with the king وشفنا طبعا ان كان في اعتراض كمان برضو تاني يعني مش بس على ان رازندل يروح نفسها ستريلس ويحضر الكورونيشن لا كمان على حتى العشاء. هما بيقولوا طبعا زابت وفريدز بيقولوا we have an early start tomorrow. عندنا بدايه مبكره نصحى بدري يعني مش لو هم فاكرين متخيلين طبعا لو اكلنا كتير هننام هيضيع اليوم بالنسبه لنا and we have an early start at 6 o'clock in the morning 6 الصبح هنكون عندنا شغل لازم الملك يستيقظ مبكرا. لكن الملك نفسه بيقول he found that eating is more important than sleeping. شايف ان الاكل اهم من النوم. فطبعا after having their dinner Joseph the servant offered the king a plate of cakes. طبعا زي ما الروايه معدله بالنسبه لنا هناك some kind of wine لكن هنا في الروايه الاصليه لكن هنا كان some kind of cakes بعض الكيك. الملك طبعا يعني ate as if he didn't eat anything before. أكل بنهم طبعا. He was eating friendly and again شفنا كمان إن Rosendal was quite hungry because after that long journey he was quite hungry and he ate but not more than one cake. أكلش غير هي just one cake. فعشان كده التأثير the effect of the poison in the cakes can quite vivid or quite clear on the king طبعا more than on Rosendal. كان باين قوي على الملك مش على راسندل. شفنا بس عصام بيقول لنا ان هو طبعا صحوه ازاي بقى صحوه بقى بالميه. تمام. هنشوف هنا خلاص يمكن تكون الفكره او الخطه بتاعت ديوك مايكل هتبان بقى واكيد يا مستر عصام ان رازندل ان زابت وفريدز اكيد عندهم خلفيه يعني وخاصه ان زابت was an old man wise enough and he as we said before he was working with the late king and he knew everything about his two sons. Yes. I mean Rodolph V and again Duke Michael. اتفضل.
تمام نكمل مع بعض. نشوف هنا تكملة الحوار بتاعنا. We must tell everyone what's happened and make the most of it. معناها لازم نخبر الجميع باللي حصل ونستفيد أقصى استفادة منه في كشف المستور زي ما بيقولوا يعني. Said Fritz, getting up to leave. Zapt stopped him. واضح ان ذهبت زي ما قال لنا كده بس محمد وايز هادي بياخد وقته بيفكر. فريدز مندفع شويه لانه لسه اصغر سنا. Do you think that he was poisoned? He asked me. وقف فريدز قال له استنى بس ما نشوف الحكايه الاول. فبيسال هنا رازندل Do you think he is poisoned؟ يا ترى هو بالوضع ده الملك اتسمم ولا بالظبط ايه اللي جراله جراء الاكل؟ يعني ممكن يكون سبب. It must have been Duke Michael. Fritz said angrily. فريدز واضح ان هو منفعل جدا بيقول لك اكيد this must be or must have been Duke Michael. وراء هذا الحدث لابد ان يكون هو مايكل. Who else؟ طبعا زي ما انتم شفتوا في الفيلم. Yes, he did this so that his brother cannot be crowned. ده هو عامل الحكايه دي مخصوص عشان الابن او الاخ يمنع من التتويج. وزي ما انتم خدتوا بالكم من شويه if he doesn't come or become a king he will never be one. لو الملك ما اتوجش النهارده ينسى مش هيحصل. You don't know what the duke is like. انت ما تعرفش الديوك بتاعنا ده عباره عن ايه. What is like معناها his personality, his mind, طريقته في التفكير والتدابير، شويه بقى المؤامرات اللي عملها. Do you Razendel? If Rudolph doesn't become king, Duke Michael will take the crown. إن ما حصلش والملك نجح في انه يحصل على الملك على التاج crown هينسى خالص القصه دي خالص ويبقى مكانه مايكل. طبعا بالوضع ده هيبقى الامور سهله جدا. At this moment it was hard to get a nearby doctor. وهم لسه بيتكلموا بيناقشوا طب احنا قاعدين بنتفرج عليه ما نجيب له دكتور. It was not so easy. It was very hard. Why? To get a nearby doctor to help the poison king as the nearest doctor is 15 kilometers away. أقرب دكتور 15 كيلو. هنروح نجيبه امتى ونرجعه امتى ويفوق الدكتور امتى وكده يعني. Even if he's around. ده حتى لو هو around لو هو قريب كمان. He won't be able to get the king back to his senses. ملك مسموم هيفوق امتى؟ ده احنا عايزين نعمله غسيل معده وشغلانه. ده مش هينفع. So he can kiss the coronation goodbye. بالطريقه دي الكورونيشن مش هيقدر يوصل له وده اللي كان عايز يوصل له ديوك مايكل. It seemed that Michael is about to get the throne into his hand. وواضح ان مايكل على مقربه ان الثرون اللي هو العرش يبقى في يديه او تحت سلطته زي ما بنقول.
كان واضح يا مستر عصام ان مايكل ما كانش عنده just one plan. يعني we can say that he had plan A and plan B.
Yes.
plan A يمكن في النص بتاعنا هنا ان he offered him some cakes. قدم له طبعا بعض الكيك. وقد يكون دي الواضح كده ان احنا ممكن نسميها بلان A، لكن هي في الحقيقه دي كانت بلان B مستر عصام لو ركزنا شويه. ليه؟ لان احنا قلنا من شويه ان كان في an early start، كان في بدايه مبكره. كان ايه المطلوب؟ احنا عارفين دلوقتي في الهانتنج لودج there were supposed to be just 5 people. في الهانتنج لودج المنزل الصيد ده كان في المفروض هنا 5 افراد فقط، وموجودين فين؟ in Zenda area، في منطقه زندا، ودي المفروض ان all the people were supporting the duke. كانوا بيأيدوا مين؟ ديوك مايكل. مين بقى اللي هم الاشخاص دول؟ كان the king his 2 men اللي هم سابت وفريتز، وشفنا المفروض جوزيف and يوهان the mother مامة يوهان. ال5 دول موجودين فين؟ على الاقل ده وفقا according to ديوك مايكل's plan، وفقا لخطه ديوك مايكل 5 اشخاص فقط موجودين. لكن with the arrival of رازندل، بوصول رازندل اصبح كده في حاجات يعني احتمالات تانية ما كانتش محطوطه في الخطه. كان المفروض يعمل ايه بقى؟ كان at 6 o'clock رازندل سابت and سابت were supposed to go to زندا. كان المفروض الاثنين مخطط انهم يروحوا مدينه زندا leaving the king with his men or with his servant and يوهان the mother. وعارفين طبعا مامة يوهان working for the duke، شغاله مع ديوك مايكل. هنسيب الملك وحده مع الخادم بتاعه الطباخ the servant. تمام؟ طيب هيروح رازندل هيروح فريدز وهيروح معاه كمان سابت. هيروحوا فين؟ to get the guards of the duke، يجيبوا حراس ديوك مايكل او يعني a group of soldiers خاصين طبعا بديوك مايكل على اساس ان هم ييجوا بقى ايه يصطحبوا to accompany the king to the زندا station، للمحطه بتاعت زندا to take the train from زندا to ستريلسو. لكن لو فكرنا شويه احنا لو بعتنا دلوقتي سابت وبعتنا معاه فريدز، الاثنين راحوا زندا، كان اكيد they will be taken as prisoners. هيحبسهم طبعا ويخلص منهم طبعا ديوك مايكل ويروح طبعا تبقى it will be quite easy for him to catch or to kidnap the king as he was alone with his servant. تمام؟ اكيد احبائي الوقت الكويس يعني بيعدي بسرعه. And unfortunately we came to the end of this unit. Many thanks to Mr. Assam and all the people beyond our camera. And until we meet again, good luck and goodbye.